All right, I think we are live. Okay, Ms. Vivar.
Welcome, Durfee Dolphin families, to our virtual family reading night. I am Grace Vivar, your proud Student Council President. We are excited to share this event with you and introduce our very special guest. Tonight we have our District Superintendent, Dr. Francis Esparza, our school board member, Dr. Joe Rivera, our former principal, Mr. Janis, and one of our City Council leaders, Mr. Andrew Lara.
We are not live yet. I'm sorry, Grace, I'm going to stop you.
We are, there is a delay. There's a delay, but we are.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I have several messages coming in that we're not on.
I know.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Grace. We can start over, Grace.
Okay. Welcome, Durfee Dolphin families, to our virtual family reading night. I'm Grace Vivar, your proud Student Council President. We are excited to share this event with you and introduce our very special guest. Tonight we have our District Superintendent, Dr. Francis Esparza, our school board member, Dr. Joe Rivera, our former principal, Mr. Janis, and one of our City Council leaders, Mr. Andrew Lara. I also want to introduce our principal, Mr. Wainaga, and Ms. Arata, our digital learning coach. Before we begin, I'd like to recite the No Excuses University at Durfee College Pledge. Please feel free to join me. I am proud to be a student at Durfee Elementary School. With the support of my teachers and family, I will work every day to build my character and my skills in reading, writing, and math. I will work every day to prepare for my future. I am important. I am smart. My teachers believe in me, and I believe in myself. I know I am college bound. Thank you for attending our virtual family reading night. Here is Mr. Wainaga.
Thank you, Grace. And good evening and welcome to everyone to our special family reading event. As Grace mentioned, we are very excited to share this time with all of you. Our goal this evening is to be able to enjoy some reading time together and to emphasize the importance of reading in our students' academic growth. As parents and community members, we can be active participants in our children's education by simply taking the time to read with them. Research demonstrates that reading to a child has a great impact on their success academically, their cognitive development, and their communication skills. The more we read to our children, the greater the positive impact in their lives. Once again, I thank you for your participation with us, and we hope that you enjoy the evening. I would like to welcome our first reader, Superintendent for the El Rancho Unified School District, Dr. Esparza.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Durfee Dolphins. Thank you for having me. So happy to be here. And tonight I'll be reading a book titled Only One You by Linda Kranz. It's time, Papa said. I think it is, Mama agreed. Time for what? Audrey asked. Papa's voice softened. To share some wisdom. Always be on the lookout for a new friend. Look for beauty wherever you are and keep the memory of it with you. Blend in when you need to. Stand out when you have a chance. Find your own way. You don't have to follow the crowd. Know when to speak. Know when to listen. No matter how you look at it, there is so much to discover. If you make a wrong turn, circle back. If something gets in your way, move around it. Set aside some quiet time to relax and reflect every day. Appreciate art. It's all around you. Make wishes on stars in the nighttime sky. Thank you for listening, Mama said. We hope you will remember. Papa winked and whispered, we know this is a lot for you to think about. Audrey did a backward somersault and smiled. He was excited to go into the world with what he had just learned. Wait for me, he shouted to his friends. Before he swam away, he turned back to his parents and said, I will remember. Mama kissed Audrey on the top of his head. There's only one you in this great big world, she said. Make it a better place. Thank you, everyone. It's a great book. Always remember to just be you. There's only one you. You are the champion of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Esparza, for joining us. That was a very, very beautiful message. Up next, we have Dr. Rivera.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Durfee students and families. I'm here to read, Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know, and you are the guy who decides where to go. You look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. And in that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's an opener there in the wide open air. Out there, things can happen, and frequently do, to people as brainy and footsie as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew, just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll be on your way up. You'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and soon take the lead. Whenever you fly, you'll be the best of the best. Whenever you go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly, it's true that bang ups and hang ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on, and you'll be in a lurch. You'll come down from that lurch
with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then that you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump and you're not in much fun, unslumping yourself is not easily done. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you can spring both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right and three quarters, or maybe not quite, or go around back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. You can get so confused that you'll start into race down long wiggly roads as a breakneck pace and grind for miles across where weirdish walled space. Headed, I fear, towards a most useless place, the waiting place. For people just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting, perhaps, for their Uncle Jake, or to pot to a boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where boom bands are playing. With banner flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky. Ready because you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you'll go. There is fun to be done. There are points to be scored. There are games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame. You'll be famous as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because they'll play against you. All alone. Whether you like it or not, alone will be something. Just be quiet a lot. And when you're all alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go, though the weather be foul, or you will go through your enemy's prow. On you will go through the hack and cracks howl. Onward, up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. Oh, on and on you will hike, and I know you will hike far, and you'll face up to your problems whenever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. Sure. So be sure when you step, step with care and great tact. And remember that life is a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. With 98.75% guaranteed. Kid, you will move mountains. So be your name Buxbaum or Bixie or Bray or Mordecai Alley Van Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today's your day. Your mountain is witty. So get on your way. And that's our conclusion of our book. Just a single thought. Think about places you want to go. I know we have a lot of challenges with our pandemic, but we hope to be soon. So be ready. Be ready that the moment we can all be out again and think of the places you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rivera. You're absolutely correct. Our next reader is Mr. Lara. He is our representative from our City Council of Pico Rivera. And we'd like to welcome Mr. Lara.
Good evening, and thank you very much. Ethan and I would like to are thankful for being invited. Tonight, I'm reading Joseph Had a Little Overcoat. Joseph had a little overcoat. It was old and worn, so he made a jacket out of it and went to the fair. Joseph had a little jacket. It got old and worn, so he made a vest out of it and danced at his nephew's wedding. Joseph had a little vest. It got old and worn, so he made a scarf out of it and sang in the men's chorus. Joseph had a little scarf. It got old and worn, so he made a necktie out of it and went to visit his married sister in the city. Joseph had a little necktie. It got old and worn, so he made a handkerchief out of it and drank a glass of hot tea with lemon. Joseph had a little handkerchief. It got old and worn, so he made a button out of it and used it to fasten his suspenders. Joseph had a little button. One day he lost it. Oh no! Now he had nothing. So he made a book about it, which shows you can always make something out of nothing. The end. Oh, okay. The small message I wanna share is that whatever you have, even if you're rich or poor, tall or short, don't despair, just be kind and make do with what you have, for nothing goes to waste. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lara, for a great message to ensure that we could always have many possibilities out there. At this time, I would like to introduce our last reader for the evening, and we would like to welcome our former principal here at Durfee, Mr. Jenis. Welcome, Mr. Jenis.
Here we go. Hey. There we go.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening to the No Excuses University at Durfee Dolphins. Glad I'm able to read to you tonight or this evening. I want to thank Mr. Goyanaga and Ms. Arata for inviting me. And the book I chose for today or for this evening is After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again. But before I start reading, I want to make sure that I talk to you about the illustrations that you see because those are very important. So let's move on. My name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot high up on the wall. I know it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I love being close to the birds. Then one day I fell. I'm sort of famous for that part. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. You could see the ladder where he got up there, and this little white streak means he fell, and the binoculars are falling also. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me back together. Well, most of me. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. Well, if you remember the nursery rhyme, it said that all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. And it just so happens he came out of the King's County Hospital, and look at him, he's cracked up, he has bandages, and now he's laying down. If you look at the top, it's birds, but he was damaged on the outside, but there could be some damage on the inside. After that day, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite things. Well, look at this. He doesn't look too happy, but he's shopping for cereal. But if you notice, the ladder's there and he's afraid to climb. But look at all the cereals that he likes at the top, and look at all the colors, and look at the bottom. It's kind of gray. And I don't think he likes that kind of cereal. I walk past the wall every day, and I would think about climbing that ladder again. I really miss the birds and being high above the city, but I could never do it because I knew that accidents can happen. You notice there's the ladder to the wall. He's far away from it. He doesn't want to have anything to do with that wall. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. Then one day, an idea flew by. He's looking up, and what does he see? I'll let you answer that question. Making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches, but day after day, I kept trying and trying. You can see he gets frustrated making airplanes because the airplanes he was making, he didn't like them. Until I got it just right. Look at the airplane he made. Beautiful airplane, and it looks like a bird. My plane was perfect and flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with the birds, but it was close enough. You can see him throwing the airplane and which way it goes, and look what happens. Unfortunately, accidents happen. Look at his face. And look, I want you to see at his eyes. Do you see the little shadow in his eyes? What do you think that is? Something he doesn't like to climb. They always do. So he threw the airplane and look where it's at. I almost walked away again, but then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things I'd missed. I decided I was going to climb that wall. But the higher I got, the more nervous I felt. I didn't want to admit it. I was terrified. As you can see, he didn't want to look down. The ladder's there, but he was still terrified. I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing one step at a time. Until I was no longer afraid. As you can see, he's finally on top of the wall again with the birds flying around. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who was famous for falling. Hopefully, you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. But notice the egg is starting to crack. He's got leaves. And he's cracking some more here. This bird is terrified because the bird doesn't know what's going on. And poof, the eggshell breaks, and it looks like he turned into a bird and learned how to fly. So you can see he broke his shell, or let's say he came out of his shell, and now he's flying high above everyone else. I had some questions for you, but I think you get the story. I highly recommend this story for its inspiring message to have the courage to face your fears, and you never know what heights you can reach if you have the courage to get back up again. And what I'd like to say is, just like Dr. Rivera said, you've been through some tough times. You've had some fear, you've had some anxiety, but you need to have the courage to get past that. One day school will open. And again, you got to have the courage to go and make sure you have that courage so that you can get back up again. So whatever your fears are, get past them and get back up again and reach the highest potential you can. Thank you, and you have a great evening.
As always, Mr. Jennings, you do a fabulous job in inspiring us and sharing your wisdom. So thank you for being with us tonight. Dolphin families, this concludes our family reading night. I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight, and I apologize deeply for our technical difficulties with the link, the YouTube link. I know that many of us couldn't access it at the beginning, and I'm hoping that many of us have been able to now see, but if not, we can also share the recording with you through your Google Classroom so your teacher can share it with you, but thank you for joining us. We all miss you so much, and we look forward to being together again. So at this time, I just greatly appreciate all of our readers, Dr. Esparza, Dr. Rivera, Mr. Lara, Mr. Jennings, our wonderful student council president, little Miss Grace Vivad, and of course, Mr. Goyanaga for always being so supportive for all of us here, making this family reading night possible and very special to all of us. So thank you everyone and have a great night.